I think people are very shocked when they see how hard it is to make a living at farming, and so it's starting to shift a little bit, this idea that food should be cheap as possible, to saying, okay, maybe we need to pay what's considered a fair price, helping farmers get the money they need to buy a piece of land and be there long term, helping farmers even to be able to retire when they get older, things like that. What's happened in New York City is the farmers markets have really taken off, and we now have 120 farmers markets in the city. The farmers who come in to sell their products, it's all producer-only farmers markets, so everything that they're bringing is something that they've grown. And the other thing that's happened is our CSA movement, which stands for Community Supported Agriculture. And we have now in New York City about 30,000 people who are participating in community supported agriculture. So they're getting food directly from a local farm, and they know who that farmer is, and they're really starting to connect with where their food is coming from. People are starting to understand what the economics are of growing the food, and they're starting to say, well, yeah, maybe it is okay to pay a little bit more for this food because we want farmers to be able to stay in business and make a living. The average age of farmers in the U.S. is, I think, close to 60, and so having young people get into it and be able to have a way of making a living, that's really having an influence.
We have seen the number of farmers markets in the past 5 years increase, substantially, right in my county alone, and within the state we've gone from what, 2,000 to 6,000 farmers markets?
Over doubled in the last 10 years.
I work in what's called the Farm to School movement, which in Scotland would be referred to as Food for Life. So bringing local food into the schools, into the local schools. And so the movement started about 10 years ago, but now it's really, I think, going to gain some momentum because our U.S. government just recently passed legislation mandating $40 million goes towards farm to school programs. Starting from the top with Michelle Obama, she's promoting kids growing food in their own garden. She's really trying to promote school gardens, and with that bill that was passed, the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010, they mandated $40 million in farm to school funds to try to get more local produce into the schools, and that's directly tied, they see it as being directly tied to part of the solution to the problem of childhood obesity. Well, in the United States, our WIC program, which is our supplemental food program for women, infants, and children, they have special farmers market coupons. Just this past year, they started allowing the basic food stamp money to be used at farmers markets. And also our Office for the Aging also has farmers market coupons. The redemption rate, the number of those coupons that are used by seniors, is close to 100%.
We are lucky in New York State because our State Department of Health and now our governor are really starting to talk about the importance of making good food accessible to all people. Our organization, Just Food, we have a big focus on the social justice component, and everybody wants to have this really high quality, fresh food from our local farms. For us, it's about making sure that some of the leadership within our organization, within our board, and we partner with community members to help lead our work to change the food system in New York City. So that's very important. Another kind of new front frontier in New York City is figuring out how to grow more of our food right within the city. It is, people do have what we call farms in the middle of New York City. People keep chickens in New York City for eggs, and people keep hives with bees for honey production, and so urban agriculture is taking off, and we see that really growing. People can really then connect very directly with where food is coming from, and there can be all kinds of exciting linkages between people in the city and our rural farmers, but a few key challenges that we really have to address is access to land, and we really need to figure out a way, I think, to mobilize people in New York City, this huge population, to protect the farmland around the city and do what we've done with our watershed. Now there's this concept of a food shed. So the land that we need to feed all the people living in the city, we have to find a way to protect that land so that we have that resource going into the future. So I think from the consumer perspective, at this point in time, people are almost more concerned about knowing who their farmer is and having a connection than seeing a label on a product in a supermarket that says organic. And some farmers are even choosing to not go through the certification process because they connect directly with their customers, and what they say is, come to my farm, come see the way I do things, and you can verify for yourself what the practices are.
And we're even seeing that in the grocery stores in the U.S., where they used to have just organic sections, foods that were grown organically. Now they're emphasizing local food. There is a huge trend in the U.S. towards local. The idea of it being local is really kind of overshadowing the organic movement. Not that people don't care about the organic, but when you can go to the farmer's market and you can talk to the farmer directly, you can ask him about his practices.
I think a lot of people also, though, are starting to realize that that also is a little bit more nuanced than just how far is the farm from the city, where's the food processing. So there's a big emphasis on creating more infrastructure for processing and distribution of local foods, and that, again, if we're talking about what's the next step, where are we going in the future, it's thinking about how to take food from local farms. And it is very, very difficult to start a farm business, and I think the land piece is one piece that really needs to be looked at, because nobody's going to get rich off of farming, so finding a way to buy the land that's close to the market is really a challenge.